I drew My Little Pony AU Twilight redesign. I'm actually surprisingly happy with it. Basically in my AU, Twilight is born as an alicorn. Based off of the event synth show, I made it where anytime an alicorn has a child, that child is also an alicorn. If y'all couldn't already tell, Twilight is the child of Luna, with King Sombra. Don't worry, he's an absentee father, he has no idea and for good reason. I made it to where an alicorn's immortality affects them their entire life. So aging is massively slowed, although younger years are relatively the same as a normal pony. Basically, 1 year of aging for a normal pony is equivalent to 10 as an alicorn. At least physically, mentally it's kinda weird. All of the important canon events still happen in my AU. But basically, Twilight was born a few years before Sombra took over the Empire, where Luna then proceeds to hide it from everyone, before eventually admitting it to Celestia. Twilight's probably around 5 in alicorn years. She's fully aware of her father, and is slightly bitter, though mostly apathetic. When Sombra's century-long reign comes to an end, she's a teenager. Nightmare Moon unfortunately still happening after another 100 years or so. When Luna is banished, Twilight has reached very early adulthood, and has been alive for about 2 centuries. She helps Celestia by taking over Luna's job for a few decades, before being frozen in time. IDK how yet. She awakens around 2 decades before Nightmare Moon is released. She uses strong glamour magic to create a public persona as a young unicorn who's Celestia's personal student, the glamour appearing to age her naturally, so she is 20-ish when the pilot happens. On a trip around Canterlot, she befriends Shining Armor, and they later meet Cadence, who soon ascends. Spike is still in the AU, although his egg was personally given by Celestia. Eventually, the 1000th year comes, and the rest of the story starts, although with a few changes. For example, since Twilight is unable to become an alicorn, she instead discovers her domain, and possibly reveals her species status, either during then or with Tyric. Her age and parentage is unknown to anyone not of royal status. I also applied my headcanon of Starlight being quite young, being in her late teens when the main 6 meet her, probably around late 16, having run away from home around 12. I do really think the time travel episode should happen, becoming a major plot point. Also, it has a lot of use for angst and an identity reveal. With all the dark chaos, I think there's whole be one where Twilight freed Sombra and Nightmare Moon, where they rule supreme and have destroyed the majority of the continent. Like, imagine how terrifying they'd be, being 3 of the oldest and most dangerous beings in existence. I imagine that they spend days, even weeks fighting in the time stream. That universe being the worst, and one of the last one they visit. Both are fatigued and starving, although Starlight is way worse because Twilight is both more experienced and immortal. I feel like they'd teleport very near to the capital of where the 3 reside, then quickly being captured and brought to the trio. Twilight is devastated with guilt and fear over her alternative's actions, and Starlight's probably confused of, as well as terrified at the godlike beings. TTAU Twilight is probably sadistically curious about her unicorn look-alike. I imagine her walking up to question her, being both extremely violent and impatient. TTAU too likely finds the lives of both worthless, planning to kill them both after getting answers. However, after not getting an immediate answer, orders her prince to kill Starlight, although properly referred to as SMT like the spare or the other one. Then extremely high-powered magical beams get launched at Starlight, where Twilight kinda goes fuck it and takes off her glamour in order to yank Starlight out of the way, before full blast launching a beam of magic at the trio and time-traveling them out of there, landing somewhere like a field, where Starlight jumps away and starts screaming, shouting. An argument occurs, with a lot of yelling and eventual tears from Starlight, and Twilight eventually persuades Starlight to quit this, and teleports them back to her castle, and they talk or something, But basically Twilight becomes her older sister, parental figure, and a majority of Thecanon things still happen. Just either slightly different actions from Twilight, and emotions. Anyway, that's all for now. I might make a part 2 with Starlight's redesign, and anything else I think of, as I low-key came up with this in less than a day. So yeah, bye everyone, D.